Hello friends, welcome you in 5th session. Let us discuss something about the differences between project managers and PMO. Two are different setups and they have got different responsibilities. So let us look at their responsibilities. A project manager is responsible for the objectives of the project. He does not have to think much about what are the organization's objectives. He should focus only on project's objective, and to achieve those project's objectives there are certain constraints. So he has to work within those constraints. On the other hand, PMO, that fellow has to look the enterprise wide perspective. He should not focus on one individual project. He is responsible for all the projects which are there in PMO. So PMO manages major programs to better achieve business objectives. So objectives are entirely different as far as these two people are concerned. The next difference is the project manager controls the resources assigned to him and he would best utilize those resources, while PMO optimizes the use of shared organizational resources across all the projects. So PMO has to look after all the projects and these people have to share resources across all the projects. Project managers manage the scope, schedule, cost and quality of the project, while people at PMO, they will manage overall risk, overall opportunity and interdependencies among projects. Then you have got project manager reports on project progress to PMO, while PMO provides consolidated reporting and enterprise view of project under its purview to CEO of the organization. Right. So these are couple of differences. Now let us look at where you should locate project management office. Should you locate it at the top level or middle level or some other level? And there are basically 3 levels possible, and of course not necessarily all these 3 levels, you can have some more levels also. So there is a chief operating officer and there is a corporate support. So you can have project office here itself at corporate level. In most of the organizations you have got project office at corporate level. So this is, let us call this level 3, the highest level project management office. You can also have project management office at level 2, which is at functional level. So this is your business unit. You can have sales, you can have delivery, you can have support, you can have after sales service, you can have technical support and so on. You can have customer complaint handling business unit and so on, right. So you can also have project management office or project office at functional level, not at corporate level, or you can have project office at project level. So you can have project A and you have project office, project B, project office. Now if a project is large and if it has got several sub projects, then you can have project office even at that level also. So it all depends on, again, location, what kind of product you are making, what kind of entity you are, whether you are a private entity or a public sector entity or a combination of these two or any other form of activity. For example, if you are a cooperative society, then you will have different level of project management office. Now there are basically 3 types of project management office. You have got, first is weather station type of PMO. Weather station, by the name itself, they would be sensing what is happening at different in different projects. So, they would be tracking and monitoring status of different projects. So, they are called weather station type of project management office. So, they would be looking at what are the milestones achieved in different projects, and milestones could be, let us say, a phase of a project is complete. Now, that could be a milestone. The difference between plan and actual progress. So, this type of weather station would look at the variance, what was planned and how much has been achieved. Then budget warning signal. So, if you are overspending on a project or if you are underspending on a project, then you would be receiving warning signals from weather station type of PMO, and they will tell you that what is the reason for overspending or underspending, and if possible they will try to come up with solution, right. So, money paid, how much money has already been sanctioned. Then status of major projects, risk, update contingency plan. Every project has got different contingency funds. So, how much contingency funds have been used and so on, and then report to top management. Then you have got control type of project management office. You have got development of project management skills. So, this type of PMO helps in skill development. They find what are the problems, they come up with different solutions to those problems, they prepare different standards, and they also prepare methodology which is to be applied across projects. So, this is quite an important type of PMO, because they not only prepare standards, plans and policies, but they also help you in implementing those plans and standards. Consult how to follow standards. So, they will tell you that this is the new standard and you are supposed to follow this particular standard. Enforce these standards, and if a project is doing good, they will give awards, and if not, they will give you stick also, right. So, they can apply a policy of carrot and stick, right. So, they also improve the existing standards, right. So, quite an important type of project management office, control tower. And then the third type is resource pool. So, this type of PMO maintains and provide a cadre of trained and skilled professionals. So, if let us say if a skilled person is needed at a particular project, these people will supply that fellow on that project. So, resource pool type of PMO. So, out of these three, what do you think, which is the most important, or what kind of PMO under whom you would like to work? It's weather station, control tower or resource pool? Just think for a few seconds. Yeah, you are right, it is control tower type of PMO. Why? Because they not only plans something, but they also help you in implementing those plans, right. Now, we will look at a very important topic, it is stakeholders management. This is one of the knowledge areas, and one should know who are stakeholders, what are their requirements and so on, right. So, let us first define who is a stakeholder. Can you tell me who is a stakeholder in a project? So, a stakeholder is a person or an agency who have active stake in project, and they can influence your project positively or negatively. So, any person or agency affecting your project positively or negatively is a stakeholder. I will give you an example. Let us say, suppose if I want to buy a flat in a housing society, let us say if I want to buy a flat from a builder. So, who are the possible stakeholders in this process? Definitely I am buying the flat, so I will be a stakeholder, builder will also be a stakeholder. Now, since I am taking loan from bank, so bank is also a stakeholder. Now, when I take loan from bank, the bank will give me insurance policy of my life. So, insurance company is a stakeholder, a life insurance company is also a stakeholder. Since I am buying a flat, I should protect that flat from natural calamities. So, bank will also give me a general insurance policy, so that I can protect flat from natural calamities. So, now general life insurance, general insurance company is also a stakeholder apart from life insurance company. Who else could be the stakeholders apart from these which I have just mentioned? Do you think state government is stakeholder? Yes, state government is also a stakeholder. Do you think municipal corporation is also a stakeholder? Yes, municipal corporation is also a stakeholder, because they would be collecting tax from me. Who else could be the stakeholders? Of course, my neighbors would be stakeholders, because my life would be affected by neighbors and I would be affecting their lives as well. So, just think of these stakeholders which are there in just small project of buying a flat. Now, you can think of number of stakeholders in real life situations where organizations do several activities and they have got several projects. So, you will have several stakeholders, right. So, first of all you need to identify stakeholders and you should know what are their needs and expectations. In a project, what happens? Project manager is a stakeholder, team members are stakeholders, the members of the team, the family members of the project team, they are also stakeholders, right. So, you need to identify stakeholders properly. So, you can have different types of stakeholders. You can have internal and external stakeholder. Of course, external stakeholders are not from the organization, right, external to the organization, and of course, you can have internal stakeholders. Let us look at internal stakeholders. You can have top management, you can have accountants, you can have other functional managers, you can have project team members. So, all these are internal stakeholders. You can have some more in this list, you can have some more in this list. Then you have got external stakeholders, and there are several. Many times you do not know that they are also stakeholders. So, you can have clients, of course, competitors. Do you think competitors are stakeholders? Yes, your competitor is also a stakeholder, because your profit gets affected by his projects, his activities. So, your competitor is a stakeholder. You can learn from the mistakes of your competitor, that is why he is also a stakeholder. Status of the project of competitor's project would also affect your project. Let us say if I am a builder, I am making let us say 100 flats, but my competitor makes 100 flats before I make 100 flats, I would be at loss, right. So, what is the status of the competitor's project will affect my projects. So, competitors are stakeholders. Suppliers, of course, and there are many more. environmental protection group, they are also stakeholders. Political parties, consumer groups, and there are several intervener groups who would be affecting your project. I will take an example of, let us say, a pharmaceutical supply chain, and I will talk about different stakeholders. So, I am a pharmaceutical manufacturer, and let us look at different stakeholders, and I want to supply my drugs to, let us say, state B, right. I am in Uttarakhand, I have to supply drugs to, let us say, Tamil Nadu, for example. So, who are the possible stakeholders? Of course, so I am being a manufacturer, I am a stakeholder, my suppliers, my funds providers, my bank, insurance companies. Now I will have some more stakeholders like logistic company. I would be having some more stakeholders, for example, let us say the local administration of different states through which my truck is moving. So, all those are stakeholders in this process. But if you look at this pharmaceutical supply chain, then there are some stakeholders which you will not even see. For example, bacteria. If you do not carry your products at a particular temperature, then there would be bacteria in that particular drug. So, bacteria are negatively affecting your business. So, they are also stakeholder. So, how to see bacteria, right? So many times it happens that you do not know which are the stakeholders or who are the stakeholders in your supply chain. So, you need to identify stakeholders properly and then identify what they want, right. If you are done with these two things, then you can manage them easily, right. Now, as I said, apart from internal and external stakeholders, you can also have owners and funders of the project, suppliers and contractors, team members and their family members. Government is also a stakeholder, and nowadays media is also stakeholder. You can have temporary and permanent lobbying organizations and society at large. So, these are couple of stakeholders. So, whenever you take up any project, you need to identify who are stakeholders of that project. Now, how to manage stakeholders? So, the first thing is identify them, right. Then there is something called planning stakeholders management process. So, stakeholder management is a process. You need to plan this process very carefully. Once you plan them, you need to manage stakeholders engagement. You need to talk to them. You need to talk to each and every stakeholder, because more the talking, you would understand them in a better way, and when you understand stakeholders in a better way, you can sail through your project easily. So, you need to engage with stakeholders, and of course, you need to control stakeholders engagement process. So, project stakeholder relationship. So, let us say there is a project manager and this is parent organization. Of course, parent organization is a stakeholder. You have got external environment, you have got top management, you have got project team, you have got regulator. I will talk about regulator after some time. You have got clients and you have got other functional managers. Let us say if you are coming up with a, let us say a new mobile company. Now, existing companies would be stakeholders, people at large would be stakeholders, but in this case Telecom Regulatory Authority of India (TRAI) would also be a stakeholder, because they would regulate your business. So, regulators play an important role these days in businesses. If you look at banking sector, then RBI regulates all the banks. So, RBI is a regulator. If you look at insurance sector, then you have got IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. So, you have got IRDA which would be regulating insurance business. So, these are regulators and they are also stakeholders, because they would be making policies for different businesses, and your business would definitely be affected by those policies. So, regulators are very important stakeholders. Now, managing stakeholders, how to manage them? So, you need to plan, you need to organize, direct, motivate and control the resources necessary to deal with various internal and external groups. So, it is a very simple process, but very complex also, because when I say planning, organizing, directing, motivating, everything comes into this, right. So, you need to look at all these things very carefully and you need to manage stakeholders, and this is the stakeholder management process. Assess the environment. How to assess environment? You need to look at the market research, you need to look at different environments, you need to look at, let us say for example, political environment, you need to look at technical environment, social environment, legal environment, economic environment. So, assess all these environments carefully and then plan your strategies. Then you have got to identify the goal of principal actors. This is very important. Principal actors are principal stakeholder. Many times you really do not know what a particular stakeholder is looking for. He might be having some hidden agendas. So, you need to look at those things carefully. Let us say if you are organizing a conference, for example, and organization of a conference is a project. So, many times people will come to you, let us say they will come to you for selling conference kit. So, they will sell at quite a low price. So, their hidden agenda is they just want that business, they want to enter in your organization through conference. They will sell at lower prices, but their hidden agenda is something different. So, you need to be very careful what that stakeholder wants, identify very clearly. I will give you another example. Let us say if I am a manager of, let us say IT department, and I am looking for a low cost MIS software, management information software. So, being a manager, I want low cost software, but the system architect who is also a stakeholder in this project, he will look after technical excellence in that project. On the other hand, programming contractor, they will try to maximize their profit. So, three stakeholders, different objectives. So, we need to identify stakeholders and what they want, right. Let us look at another example of having different stakeholders. Let us say estate development project. Let us say I want to buy a house. So, being an owner of the house, I have given some money to the builder, but at the end of the day my objective is to have timely delivery. I want my house at a particular time, right. The state government, the local government, municipal corporation and so on, they want more and more taxes from the people who are residing in that particular area. Environmental groups, what they want? They want minimum impact to the environment, and nearby residents, they do not want a new project nearby them because their lives would be affected. maybe positively or negatively. So, these stakeholders have got different objectives. You need to identify them and identify their requirements. The third step is assess your own capabilities. You see, you can manage stakeholders if you assess your own capabilities properly. You should go for your own SWOT analysis being a project manager. Assess your technical skills, your financial strengths and so on. In fact, nowadays political parties are hiring consultants. So, those consultants are also stakeholders, right. I will not go into detail of this, but what I am trying to say is before managing your stakeholders, whenever you talk to a stakeholder, you should identify your strengths and weaknesses as well as stakeholders' strengths and weaknesses. That is even more important. Then only you can have a fair negotiation between two parties, right. Develop solution if there is any problem, test and refine the solution. So, this is your stakeholders management process. Stakeholder management cycle. So, this is a cycle. In fact, this is similar to what we have just seen. Identify stakeholder, gather their information related to them, what is their mission, determine stakeholder strength and weaknesses, identify their strategy, predict their behavior, implement a stakeholder management system. So, this is project stakeholder management cycle given by D.I. Cleland. So, this is all about stakeholder management. Let us look at the relationship between stakeholder and the project. Of course, so this is your project, right, and you have got project manager at the center because he is responsible for the project. You have got team, right, project management team, right. So, this is how you can say that there is a relationship between stakeholders and project, right. Now, there are several types of projects and we can classify them on the basis of several criteria. So, you can have personal projects, writing a book, writing a research paper, right, planning for wedding, purchasing house. So, all these are personal projects. You can have local projects also. For example, school function, cleanliness drive, you can have let us say blood donation camp and so on, right. You can have new product development project, new highway, dam, power plant, fertilizer plant and so on, coal plant and so on, right. You can have projects at national level, poverty eradication program, right. You can have let us say satellite development program. We have got NASA with us, right. So, NASA is looking after all these programs. So, that would be a national project. Preparation of annual budget, census, skill India, clean India, all these are national level projects. You can have industrial and non-industrial projects. So, this is quite simple. Then you have got projects on the basis of type of partnership, and it can be let us say you can have single proprietary business, a partnership, a private limited. You can have sometimes pure government project, you can have private project, you can have PPP mode project and so on, right. So, on the basis of partnership also you can have projects. So, you can have let us say national projects and you can have international project also. So, this is an example of international project, CERN project. So, European Organization for Nuclear Research. So, this is nothing but an international project. and you can also have a high tech and low tech project, right. So, this is basically a very high tech project, right. You can have a low tech project also, right. So, these are couple of criteria on which you can divide projects, right. So, let us look at types of projects based on duration. So, you can have a long term project, you can have short term project, you can have medium term project. There is no fixed timings, these timings vary from project to project. Generally, if a project lasts for 10 plus years, then we will call it long term project. If a project is having, let us say, lifespan of 5 to 10 years, we can call it a medium term project, and then the remaining ones are short term projects, right. So, project can be divided on the basis of investment also. You can have high investment project, medium investment project, and low investment project, right. And this investment depends on state government to state government, product to product, department to department. In fact, this MSME sector in India has been classified into two types of sectors. You have got manufacturing enterprises and you have got service sector enterprises. So, we can classify a manufacturing enterprises if the investment on plant and machinery is up to 25 lakh. So, we will call it a micro industry. If it is rupees 10 crore, then we will call it medium, right. Similarly, service enterprises. So, in service enterprises you have got investment on equipment only, not on land and buildings, right. So, for example, a pathology lab can be put under service enterprise. So, if the investment is up to 5 crore, we will call it medium, otherwise if it is 10 lakh, we will call it micro. So, let me stop here for the time being. In next session, we will take up some other types of projects and we will see those in details. Thank you very much for attending this session.